Hey guys, I'm just gonna talk about the build that I have right now. Some people were asking me about what I was using for the 10-second Galanza fight on Extreme. Pretty much just kind of like pick your best DPSs. The main goal on that is basically just after the units use link together, the bear, he just basically dies by that point. So that's how it does the 10 seconds. So one of the main reasons why farming this Galanza is because he at the beginning of the fight he does rush towards you, and this is one of my better places to farm Curios because I've done the calculations. If you guys haven't checked that out, go check the other video that I'm gonna link. But basically that video is gonna talk about how the drop rates of the Curios work, and it's mainly what I'm trying to do to farm the supplemental damage right now. One thing that I want to note is all of your AIs are kind of attacking, so you want to make sure that you have full assist mode on, and full assist mode, your main attacker will also attack even if you're not doing any input, which is great when the enemy comes close within your range. So that's why even if you're melee, your melee is actually gonna fight back like that. He rushes at you at the very beginning, so that's what makes it really good. And this is one of those exceptions, I guess, like that it does slightly sometimes when he doesn't die immediately on the link attack. There's like a few extra seconds, but in general, basically it's a 10-second fight. So just gonna talk about the build that I was using. For the gears, it's basically just put them into standard DPS. The main takeaway from it is, I would say, make sure you have glass cannon and war elemental. Now obviously not everyone's gonna have that immediately, but the ideal farming for it is glass cannon, water elemental, and then just the standard DPS of tyranny, stamina, critical rate. And then I do have like slap in link together, and as you can see, all of them doesn't have a supplemental damage. Actually, my main DPS had supplementary damage, but I assure you that is not very necessary. So I just had the link together, and I didn't level them up because I didn't want to level them up right now because I didn't have like a good substats on them. It feels like kind of waste of my resources. And you actually don't really need all of them to be at max awakening. And in fact, I would say that for when I was farming them, not all of them really had the max awakening. I think just one of my main DPS only had that, but my other units just primarily had the damage cap up to level 5, so which is like the awakening 6. At around awakening 6, you are gonna be able to unlock that damage cap, which is kind of like the main goal for you, where you have 4 damage caps plus that main awakening, and that's already enough. Obviously you want more for more damage just in general, but like it's not absolutely necessary. I would say the glass cannon and the war elemental are the biggest things about it. In terms of skills, just primarily for my Zeta, she didn't have any skills at all. I found it better for her to not have any skill because it does allow her to charge up her SBA gauge faster. But for Eugen, I had Rack, Armor Piercing Round, Venom Grenade, Paralyzing Bullet, but I had the Paralyzing Bullet, which is pretty good as it stops Yolanda from doing anything. And then I had Zerason, Royal Authority, I'm gonna butcher this German, Exile, you can see it, that's my Percival, my Cagliostro. I'm just like putting in like a lot of the DPS skills on it, but it can be whichever unit that you have built. I would highly suggest to have at least Eugen with the Paralyzing Bullet. That is really useful, especially against that boss or any boss in general. He's a really top tier AFK unit. Now this is not really my setup in terms of if I want to AFK other proud modes. When I do want to AFK with my proud modes, I go and have a tank instead as the main character because they don't really attack or anything like that. So in maniac and proud mode, you're gonna tank, and because the system doesn't really allow you to auto attack with the full assist because this only goes up to extreme. Now for the gears for the proud mode, and so I have this setup. This is the setup for my tank. In general, you would pick the weapon that has the HP and garrison, but I mean you can use the other one also, which has the regen, your terminus weapon, but you probably would want to use the this other one that has the HP and garrison, so that you can put some traits on it that is just purely for tank. And then you have Stout Heart with Steel Nerves. Those that's a really good combination together. And then Crab Vestment returns for high HP. And then Stronghold, Garrison, and Aegis. Just enough just to push yourselves to 99,999 HP. For the tank substats, just make sure you have a max level on auto revive, regen, and then the guts. Those are the substats that you would look for as you are farming the garrison and Aegis. You can get up to level 45 on garrison, level 20 on guts, level 45 Aegis, level 30 stronghold, level 15 steel nerves, level 45 regen, and level 20 auto revive. And I do have like the low profile here at level 20, and I would say that's not really necessary, because if you are that tanky enough, it does end up not really being necessary. And I would say this is kind of overkill actually for the defense. I just kind of like to perfect it. And I would even say that you don't necessarily have to max level them up all. You'll be fine even with just like 50k 60k HP, but just to make the runs more consistent and make sure that the AIs don't run towards you as much as possible, so that they can revive, so they have to revive you, you know, it's just nicer to just have you as tanky as possible. I do switched up a little bit on my DPS as well. I do start putting in the supplementary damage if you have them, but if not, you can just replace them with Link Together. And otherwise, pretty much similar thing on everything else. Glass Cannon is basically the same thing. War Elemental, Tyranny, critical rate with stamina. And I'm gonna move myself a little bit here just so that you can see. But for those secondary substats, for the Link Together or your damage caps or whatever the Tyranny is, I would definitely try to get at least like an auto revive just in case they do die. Another main thing that is really good are the quick cooldown and uplift. Especially for Eugen, a quick cooldown is really good so that he can cast his skills as much as possible, and then the uplift is so that they can SBA gauge as soon as possible as well. And that SBA is actually pretty crucial because it then allow you to skip some phases of some bosses, and it is pretty huge for AI. Another thing that you could explore if you don't have everything in there, Limbo Onslaught is also really good. The AI will try to dodge as much as possible, and then whenever they do the perfect dodge, they will have like an invincibility and also the SBA gauge gain and skill cooldown reduction. If I have to say, I would say like 2 supplementary damage and that single Link Together is a pretty good combination that I found to work out really well. Yeah, that's basically like pretty much like the stats that I have on my units. And then I just kind of filled with whatever I kind of have left over for now. But yeah, my AFK this is pretty much my AFK. Roughly the same setup. Also, in terms of what I kind of just really recommend farming, I like farming in Proud Mode the Blazing Trial, because the Blazing Trial drops Tyranny and damage cap, and it is a pretty fast fight. And also, so it just farms a little bit of sigils and a little bit of Curios. There's like a good combination of them. Now if you're farming for the Awakening or Terminus, then I would farm the Nihilia monsters instead, like Furicane, Managarmer, and Vulcan. Now I'm just gonna skip right into the results screen immediately, but as you can see here, my Narmaya had 0 honors, and the clear time, in-game clear time is 202, but I have seen faster on this one. And so in terms of where to farm them, basically, as I mentioned before, Tyranny Plus and damage cap do drop in the Fire Dragon. And then this critical rate plus stamina, I have found a lot of them just through transmutation from Ciero. For some reason, I just noticed it in my account, and I've noticed it from a lot of other people that they have said that their stamina plus critical rate has been obtained through that. Now in terms of Link Together, I would say just pretty much you could select Trade Barriers or Banquet of Ice and Corpses or Vulcan Bola Nihilia. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know where I got mines from. I think it's probably in Transmarvel also. But if you guys are curious for where to farm, specifically which ones are, I would go look at this one. This post had posted the different drop rates for the sigils, which was pretty helpful. In particular, it did help me figure out which ones I could try to farm, where I could look into having farming multiple things at once. So for example, when I was trying to farm some of my Aegis and Garrison, I was actually farming the light dragon on that one, and that kind of helped me bring up my tank. And then one that has pretty much a lot of value is the fire and earth dragon, which has Garrison, damage cup plus, tyranny, and then HP plus. So if you want to dip a little bit on both of that, and then see the banquet of ice and corpses actually just drop link plus and Aegis plus also. So if you want to start double dipping, but in my opinion, I kind of found it really nice to just kind of really farm the fire dragon, because this damage cap and tyranny, and then just having the flexibility of the different sub skills on the second slot has been really helpful. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, just leave a comment. I'll just try to respond to them when I can. That's what I've been doing when preparing my farming right now for Lucilius, and I'll be live on it when this boss comes out. Make sure to come check me out at twitch.tv/kaijlv, and I'll see you guys next time.